English title is just like Lady Oracle, so the word is nearly the same in English as in German. So this is the German edition. I really, really like it. I think it looks very cool with this like woman and this big head that looks kind of creepy. Yeah, so this is about a woman. It's hard for me to describe the plot, to be honest. But this is about a woman who's called Joanne Foster, and she writes books. She's an author, and yeah, it's a very weird book, to be honest. She also, um, yeah, in this book, this woman, she has like different identities. She fakes her death. Yeah, it's a really wild ride. Also, her relationship with two men is part of the plot. Yeah, to be honest, I can't remember that much. It might be like 1 or 2 years ago that I read it. But I also annotated a lot because I thought the writing was just beautiful. Yeah, it's a really interesting book, but it's not really. Back when I read it, I remember that I thought it's an interesting book, but it's not fun to read. I feel like there's a difference between a book that is, or there can be a difference between a book that is interesting and a book that is fun to read. So this one was more like interesting, and as I said, I love the writing, but the story didn't like hooked me. I really kind of had to force myself to continue reading. And the same was with this one, which is Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. This is about, this takes place in Toronto 1843. And yeah, it's about Grace, who worked like as a servant, I don't know. So she lived in the house of a rich man, and she like made the food and brought it to him and stuff like that, you know. Back in the days, or rich people still have that. Yeah, and she is said to be guilty of killing that man together with another man that also worked for his second wife, but it's not really a wife, she's just there to have a baby for the man. Yeah, and of course that's a kind of disturbing story, but also a really important one to tell. That's why it has blown up so much lately. Yeah, I think dystopian books can really be important. Yeah, and so are these, I would say. The first book is like only in the perspective of this woman, and the next one, there are other women that the story gets told, and I like both of them very much. Yeah. So, yeah, who I would, or what would I recommend, or to whose people, to which people? Sorry, I'm sorry. To which people would I recommend just talk shortly about this one. Okay, but maybe my thoughts on it. I really liked it. It is kind of funny. It also deals kind of with some serious topics. It's not super dark or anything, but there's always some kind of depth in her stories. And yeah, to be honest, I don't remember that much, but I remember having a good time, and that's why I pick her books up. So I like this one. I think I gave it like 4 stars or something, or 3.5. Then another book I read is Beach Read. That's the most recent book that I read, but I think one of the oldest books that she published. And this is also a romance story, of course, between January and Gus, and they are both authors. They know each other from college, but they never liked each other that much. And then January moves into like a summer house of her dad who has recently died. Yeah, to try to sell it, and yeah, then they meet there again, and the story goes from there. Yeah, I feel like it's the same. I liked it. Like 4 stars. It gave me what I wanted, and nothing more, but also nothing less. I also read Happy Place, Happy Place, Happy Place. This is like a second chance romance. Yeah, in this one, our female main character and our main character recently broke up, but they haven't told their friends yet. And every summer, they both with the friend group get into this summer house. And yeah, spend a week or 2 in there together. And this summer it will be the last because the house will get sold. And yeah, our female main character doesn't want to ruin the vacation for her friends, so they act like they are together and not split up, because they don't want to tell them on this last vacation. Yeah, and I really liked this one, to be honest. It kind of stood out for me, but I feel like that's personal because I could kind of relate with some topics that our female main character dealt with. So I really like this one more than I feel like these two that I just showed you. But I feel like they all follow kinda the same route, but we're gonna talk about that later. Yeah. Then I also read You and Me on Vacation. You and Me on Vacation. This is about two friends, and they just as long as books where you don't have to do that, because my alarm just went off. Yeah, because the laundry is ready. Okay, yay. Yeah, but back to the editions. I feel like German editions are usually really high quality, and yeah, UK editions are, I feel like, the cheapest on money wise, but also the worst quality if you buy paperback, at least. And US editions, I feel like they are often very floppy, which I like. And this one you can also open all the way without breaking these. Yeah, but okay, it's not that much about the editions, it's more about the books. Yeah, so this is, as I said, the last book, the first book that I read by Emily Henry, but the last book I want to show you from her. And this is Book Lovers, Book Lovers. Book Lovers. Book Lovers, Book Lovers. Yeah, and this is about our main character, Nora, who is a literary agent, and she meets with her sister in this little small town where she meets Charlie, who is an editor, and they both live in New York. They know each other because they both work like in the book world, and they don't like each other, or at least she doesn't like Charlie. I don't know, I can't remember if Charlie likes her, but she doesn't like Charlie. And yeah, the story goes from there. I When I read it, I really loved it. I loved it. But it's a long time ago, so I don't know. I would have to reread it to really have a set opinion on this. But in my memory, I really liked it. But it's, as I said, it was the first book of Emily Henry, and I feel like, yeah, that's why I was maybe a bit more hyped. I don't know. So on Emily Henry in total, who would I recommend Emily Henry to? So I would, of course, recommend her if you like romance, because that's obvious, I guess. But I myself am more of a literary fiction reader, or like general fiction, I don't know. And I also like a romance every now and then. But I think I also disguise a lot of the romance books that are popular. I don't like a ton of spice. I don't like, very cheesy, romantic. I don't know. Cheesy isn't the right thing. But I don't like sexists, MMC, so male main characters. Yeah, you know what I mean. I feel like a lot of the romance books out there, I don't want to judge too harsh because I haven't read them, but the image that I get of a lot of romance books is, or some romance books, I don't want to be like too generalizing, some romance books is that, yeah, they are full of stereotypes, full of toxic behavior, stuff like that. And if you don't like that, but you want to read a romance book every now and then that also has substance, then Emily Henry might be for you. There are also spicy scenes in these books, all of them, but it's like 1 or 2 pages, book, so I believe them if they, because they know the genre better, and I'm just repeating. If you have another opinion, that's okay, and I might also be wrong, but yeah. Okay, and the last author, because the video is already 30 minutes long, is Mona Award. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Mona Award. But I would say, oh my god. The German is slipping through. I read 2 books by Mona Award. The first book I read of her is, I think, her most famous one, and that is Bunny. And this is a German edition, but it's also called Bunny in English. And this is kind of also like a dark academia book, but very weird. Yeah, it's about main character Samantha, who studies at Warren University. I think like creative writing or something like that, or yeah, it's about writing. And in one of her classes, there is this girl group, this clique. I don't know, like girl group sounds like they're singing, but friend group of girls. And they are very girly. They are always styled to the maximum. They are very sweet to each other. They, I don't know, just behave kind of strangely, kind of over the top girly, and they call each other Bonnie. And yeah, one day she gets invited to a party of this group, a little party, just the friend group, and now Samantha. And yeah, I don't know, the story goes from there. It's a wild ride, it's weird, it's very weird, it's also not a realistic story, so with Mona Award you can't expect, okay, maybe we'll talk about that later, but yeah, it's not part of reality, some things that are happening, so you have to keep that in mind. Yeah, I don't know what to think about this book. I feel like I also would have to reread it, because back then I was a bit disappointed, but maybe nowadays I would look differently also not, you can't take everything just literally. You kind of have to read between the lines. You will also not get everything even though you read it till the end. Not everything will be solved, not everything will make sense for you maybe, but it's a book that really gets you into thinking about it, what the certain aspects of this book will mean, stuff like that. So I really liked it. I actually DNF'd it when I first read it, but then I gave it another chance, and I'm so happy because I loved it. I think I gave it like 4.5 stars or something like that. And that's also why I kind of want to reread Bunny, because I don't know, let's see. But Mono Ward, I would recommend her books if you, as I said, don't need to have if you like a book where you maybe have to think about the things, what could the author mean with that, and maybe also if you like magical stuff a little bit. As I said, it's not realistic or anything, some things that happen in these books. In this one there are also a lot of themes from fairy tales. I feel like in this one maybe as well, but I don't know. They are both also kind of creepy sometimes. They talk a lot, like on a second layer, a lot about our society. There's one about beauty standards. So Mona Ward is an author that I really got to enjoy. Is that a sentence? And I would definitely read other books by her. But I know that these are not for everyone.